Hi, everyone. Welcome and thanks for joining us. We are part of Arbor Circle's youth development team, and we have been working to explore how we can continue providing services to the youth and families of our community through virtual services. So first, we'd like to take a moment to introduce ourselves and the programs that we are involved in. So my name is Ashlyn Alexander, and I've been working in youth development services at Arbor Circle for 5 years now. Currently, I am the prevention specialist for our youth prevention services. My position is multifaceted in that it is essentially composed of combined programs and ideas. One of those is our Prevention Day program, which serves students who have been placed on long-term suspension or expulsion from school and are mandated to participate in day programming in order to meet their reinstatement requirements. With this program, we work with students to develop various skills to assist them in being able to maintain themselves upon returning to school, as well as equipping them with coping skills and refusal skills as they relate to drug or alcohol use. Some of our group topics during programming include discussing and practicing communication skills, listening skills, identifying coping skills, as well as some future and goal planning. We also discuss drug and alcohol use and help the youth to identify their risk and protective factors as they relate to substance use. We have many conversations about mental health issues and other general challenges that our youth in our community are facing on a daily basis. We use evidence-based curriculums to facilitate interactive psychoeducational groups with these students. There's also a community service component of our day program. As an extension of prevention services, we also facilitate in-school support groups at a number of Grand Rapids public schools. So those groups run from anywhere from 6 weeks to the full school year, and they're designed to support students identified by staff to be at higher risk of substance use or mental health challenges, or just in need of additional therapeutic support. By providing these groups in school, our hopes are to be more preventative in both drug and alcohol use and in behavioral referrals, including suspension or expulsion. So I'll let Sydney introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Sydney Gomez, and I am the house manager and therapist at The Bridge. The Bridge is a short-term crisis shelter for youth 10 to 17 who are experiencing homelessness, have run away from home, or whose housing is for some reason unstable or uncertain. We are a voluntary program, so youth and their guardians agree for youth to stay here, and we can house youth for up to 21 days. While they're staying with us, youth have the opportunity to participate in goal setting, individual and family counseling, service learning activities, outings in the community with staff, and are able to continue going to school and work with the help of transportation that's coordinated by staff. During their time at the Bridge, youth work closely with staff, myself, and their guardians to identify safe housing options and improve relationships and communication with their families. Youth Development is one division of Arbor Circle, which is a nonprofit organization that offers a wide range of mental health, behavioral health, and substance use services. We have over 52 programs across over 11 counties in Michigan, and we serve clients across the lifespan. There are 5 youth development programs, which include the Bridge and Prevention, which we just talked about. There's also a street outreach program, which is exactly how it sounds. Staff are in the community, engaging with youth 10 to 24 who are experiencing homelessness. They provide basic needs items, they have ample knowledge about navigating housing and assistance systems, and they provide referrals. We have HYS is a clinical case management service that works with youth 16 to 21. They work alongside youth as they work towards obtaining safe and stable housing. Our HYS clinicians assist youth as they apply for jobs, vital documents, assistance, fill out the first apartment application, and help youth develop life skills. Our Host Homes program is a medium-term housing option for youth who are experiencing homelessness and are participating in the HYS program. Members of the community volunteer to house and feed a young person in their home for up to a year while the young person works on their goals of transitioning to independent living or longer-term housing options. As our regular services are changing to increase safety during this pandemic, We are hoping to create a virtual space to answer questions and support youth and families during this time. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about stress and anxiety because we recognize that typical day-to-day stressors are still present. Things like school, financial and work issues, family relationships and conflict, housing instability, and peer conflicts have not gone away. In fact, they've probably gotten a little bit worse during this time. There's less access to support networks that we usually have. Friends, extended family, teachers and coaches, religious and spiritual leaders are not as involved in our day-to-day lives right now. And some of the coping skills that we usually have access to, we don't right now. Our discussion today is geared towards youth who are middle school to high school aged and their guardians or family members, though everyone is welcome to watch. You are encouraged to participate as a family or have discussions after watching the video with those in your household.
Yeah, so before we get started on our stress and anxiety discussion, we want to recognize that this virtual communication is probably new to you. It's also very new to us, so we may not have the most streamlined plan yet in terms of creating these videos, and so we are very open to feedback in terms of content that, whether you're a parent watching this, maybe content that you want your child to participate in, or if you're a youth watching this, what are some things that you want to discuss? What are some concerns that you have? So we just want to hear from the people in our community and what you would like to be a part of. So throughout our normal operations, we often offer groups on coping skills, emotion regulation, and other challenges that youth are facing. However, we know that we are in particularly unusual times right now. So again, we would love to get some feedback on what you all as parents and youth as part of the community are interested in exploring, learning about, discussing during these particularly difficult times. So today we've chosen to spend a few minutes on stress and anxiety, as we recognize that most, if not all of us, are experiencing these emotions in one way or another right now. In our planning, Sydney and I realized that when we were adolescents, and we certainly experienced stress and anxiety, though we may not have known at the time that that's what we were experiencing, because we hadn't been taught how to identify stress or anxiety or the ways that it can show up in our bodies.
So we're going to start just by even talking about what is stress and anxiety. Stress is the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or a response. The body reacts to changes with physical, mental, and emotional responses. And stress is a really normal part of life. Everyone experiences stress. You can experience stress from the environment around you, your body, and even your thoughts. Even positive things like starting a new job or school or playing sports can produce stress. Anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear, apprehension, nervousness about what's to come. So the first day of school, going to a job interview, giving a speech, causes most people to feel fearful or nervous. Stress and anxiety are a really normal part of life. However, they can also cause some serious problems if they become really intense or overwhelming, and it begins to impact your daily functioning. Common ways that stress shows up that you may not even realize is stress include things like headaches, increased tiredness or lethargy, loss or increase of appetite, stomach pains and digestion issues, irritability, mood swings, sadness, a numbing feeling, withdrawing from friends, changes in your sleep patterns. All of these things can be a result of stress and anxiety, and they're all really unique to each individual. So not everyone experiences stress in their body the same way. So I would like you to take just a couple seconds, maybe 30 seconds, and reflect back on the last few weeks, or maybe a specific time in your life where you know you were feeling stressed, and think about how you experienced that in your body, and maybe write down a few of these symptoms so that you can remember that for later.
Okay, so hopefully you were able to come up with a few maybe stress or anxiety related symptoms that you now realize you've been experiencing over the last few weeks. So as Sydney mentioned, while anxiety can be a fairly normal part of life, there are times where we may experience anxiety in a way that is very unhealthy for our mental health and for our bodies. When we spend large amounts of time worrying about worst case scenario or what ifs, or about things that we truly have no control over, it can be very overwhelming and even paralyzing, making it difficult to focus on things like homework or even your job. So what we'd like for you to do now is to take a minute or two to write down some specific things that you're worried about right now. Really take some time to kind of dive in deep to think about what you've been thinking about. What are your current fears? What are you stressed about right now? What are you anxious about? Maybe it's related to what's going on in the world right now with the pandemic, or maybe it's not related to that. So just take some time. Again, maybe we'll give you about 30 seconds. Just think about what you're worrying about and write them all down, all of them that you can think of. So you can continue to add to this list if you want, as things will come to you throughout the rest of today, throughout the next few days. But I want you to look at what you have written down on your list. And I want you to go through each item and determine whether or not you have any control over that particular worry. Is there anything that you can do to help or change the situation that you're worried about, whether that's working on yourself, something that you can do to improve, or is this a situation that are completely and entirely out of your control? Which worries remain out of your control no matter what you do? Now looking at the list of things out of your control, hopefully you realize that you cannot change those things. You can decide, if you're a youth, speak to a trusted adult about these issues if you'd like, but try your hardest to let that list of the things that are out of your control go. Rip it up if that helps you. Throw it away, flush it down the toilet. Your focus should be on the list of things that you can control, things you can change for the better. So it may seem silly to you, but it's a practice that can be very helpful to those who find themselves worrying constantly about many things at one time all throughout the day. So try and use this practice to take a load off of yourself and make your plate a little bit lighter.
As you look at some of the questions and concerns and worries that you have, really encourage you to look at that and reach out to us if you have any questions that we might be able to help answer. We really want this to be personalized for all of the individuals watching, and we know that everyone has different concerns because everyone has different situations. So at the end of this video, we're going to give you some contact information, and we would love if you can submit some of those questions to us and we can respond to you individually. Earlier, I mentioned that not all of us have access to the coping skills that we typically use, but what even is a coping skill? Coping skills are things that you do when you're feeling upset or overwhelmed that either distract you or calm you down, or even just things that bring you joy. So I encourage you to take a few minutes to think about coping skills that you use that you still have access to. Or if you don't really know what coping skills you use right now, just think about things that bring you happiness, bring you joy, that you know that you can do to feel better.
Yes. We also want to note that if you are a youth in our community and you are feeling deeply sad or maybe depressed, maybe you've lost interest in doing things that once brought you joy or happiness, please talk to a trusted adult and tell them how you're feeling. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's an extended family member. As we mentioned, you may not have direct contact with these people right now, but phone calls are ways that you can kind of talk to those people. We also recognize that some young people struggle to talk about these kinds of things with people that they know. Some people prefer to discuss their concerns or their issues or their worries with someone who's not part of their family, someone who's kind of neutral. So if you're a parent watching this, we want you to know that we still have the ability to offer counseling here in our youth development services. So if you're a youth in the community and you think you could benefit for some one-on-one counseling, or if you're a parent watching this and you have a child who you think could really benefit from one-on-one counseling, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to speak with you to get your child started in virtual counseling services. It's also completely free of cost to you. Also, if you have a child aged 10 or up who would be interested in participating in a weekly virtual group series, or if you're a youth watching this and you're interested in being part of a virtual group, please let us know if you're interested. The series could be on self-care or other life skills, or just a place to kind of come together with some peers and just discuss what's going on right now, and your worries and concerns, or maybe even the positive things that are going on currently. So that it could be virtual groups. It could consist of Sydney and I continue to recording videos on a variety of topics each week, individual virtual counseling, or finding other educational or helpful videos to send to the youth in the community that could provide a starting point for having some of these conversations as a family. So again, please share your ideas with us and any questions or concerns that you may have. We can try to answer them via our next video, or if they're more personal, we can just respond to those individually. We'd love to give you a call to discuss enrolling in our services. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this video was helpful. As Sydney said, we're going to share our contact information on the next screen for a minute, so please take this information down if you're at all interested, and we look forward to hearing from you.